Okay, here we are going live with the drawing hour. Checking our volume. Let's see. The drawing hour with yours truly. I'm gonna give everyone a chance to kind of get on in here. Okay, so I'm gonna give everyone a chance to kind of hop on with the drawing hour. It's only gonna take us about an hour to go through. We'll go over basic drawing techniques and just some things that can help and encourage us as young or even older artists to continue drawing during these uncertain and quarantine times. Just to give you a little background info on me, my name is Cassandra Sistrom, but I go by Cass the Artist. About 32 years old. I have two young ones of my own. They're in the room. They are three, well, about to be four on Monday. And I have a 6 month old. So hopefully neither one of them wake up during this hour. Um, but as I said, I'm going to give us all a chance to kind of get in here. We'll get started at about 2:06, 2:07. Uh, hey, yes, thank you. Let's comment if you all have anything you want to draw in particular. I will go over the basics. So I'll go over the basic shapes, how to draw certain things. And this will be a continuous build upon class. I will also save them in chronological order. I'll have their dates. So if you miss a class, you want to go back and say, hey, how do we do this? We went over drawing. I missed shading that week. You can always kind of go in and go through the videos and see which one you missed to be able to watch it and learn what you need to learn. If there's ever anything that you would like for us to go over that I haven't covered, then just make a comment and we can do it. It's no problem. We'll be here every Wednesday and Thursday I said that right, Wednesday and Thursday at 2 p.m. Uh, and I'll be here drawing. Real quick, if you are getting your materials, if you don't have them, we don't even need a lot. All you need is this, a pencil, preferably a sharpened one, a pencil. I have an 8x11 sheets of paper. All I have is, this is copy paper. You can get this from any store. You can get a drawing pad from the Dollar Tree. So I also have a drawing pad from the Dollar Tree. But I'll use my loose leaf paper. I do encourage everyone as you go to save your work, even if you don't like it, save it, because then as I like to put mine up on the wall to see the progress. So you might not like it in the beginning, and then by week 3 you can say, hey, I'm growing. I can see my skills growing. So I will say just keep it. If you want to follow it up, that's fine, but really just come on. All right. It's about, if you have crayons and markers, I'm going to welcome color. So if you have crayons and markers, please do. I have crayons here, my big crayon bucket. But really, this is just for those of us who just can't not include color in their pictures. Hey, fam Yuli, I got cousins on here. I got aunties. I got fam Yuli on here. Yep, we're about to get started in about 1 minute. So I'm going to grab my pencil. If you have a pencil or a crayon, is this someone really knocking at my door right now? Like, OMG. Okay, so let's see, 30 more seconds for everyone to get their things together. I'm going to open the door. I'm coming right back. Also, make sure you follow me on Instagram, as well as Facebook. You can follow me on Instagram, same name, Cast the Artist, and you can follow me on Facebook at Artistically Me, Instagram at artisticallyme.atl. Artistic is the name of the nonprofit art education program that I have. We have art, dance, and theater classes and camps for students kindergarten to eighth grade right here in Atlanta, Georgia. But if you're not in Atlanta, we're still here online together. So I'm going to take this up. Everyone have their paper ready. And all we're going to do is we're just going to go over the basic shapes. So, you all can't see that. So the basic shapes are really 4 shapes. So we have a circle. We have triangle. We have squares. And then we have rectangles. This is literally, I'm just using the crayon. If you're not using the crayon, it's okay. This is just to kind of get you guys to understand you can create anything using these 4 basic shapes. I mean, a house is nothing but a triangle on top of a square. A truck is nothing but a square and a rectangle in circles. So to kind of give you an idea of what I'm talking about, I'm going to do some 2D drawings. 2D is just that, 2-dimensional, meaning it's not popping out. We'll get into 3D a little later, which is when you shade and add a little dimension to make your drawing pop out off the page. 2D drawing, if you have your 4 basic shapes, I'm going to move them over here. Can you all see that? I want to make sure everything's still kind of in screen. If not, I'll move it back. But your 2D drawings consist of all these 4 basic shapes. So like I said, if you wanted to do a truck, all it is literally a square, rectangle, and this is an 18-wheeler truck, big boy truck. And then we have circles, 1, 2, 3. This is a nice, easy way for if you look and make sure that when you draw, everyone can draw. I once had a art teacher, his name was Arthur Parks. If you know Arthur Parks in Atlanta, Georgia, and you know how I can get in contact with him, please let me know because I would love, love, love to reconnect with him. But he was an art teacher I had when I was about 12, and he told us everyone can draw, but not everyone can see. And I remember being 12, like, what are you talking about? I have my glasses on. I can see. What? But he was absolutely correct. Everyone can draw, but not everyone can see. As long as you can see these shapes in any object you're trying to draw, you can draw them. So I'm going to try to break this down like this, simple, so you can understand that drawing is just seeing things for what they are. And of course, these are the 4 basic shapes. I'm just coloring it in to make it look a little more like a truck. We might put in another rectangle here for the window, maybe a small rectangle here. And, then you can always decorate it however you like. My last name is Sis Trunk, so I always brand all of my things because I want people to know that it's mine. So this is the Sis Trunk, making Sis Trunk deliveries. And of course, I always encourage people to have fun with their drawings, okay? We're not here to be frustrated. We are here to release some stress. We're here to learn something new. And we're here to build upon the talent that you already possess. I naturally believe that everybody can draw. You're not going to hear me say you cannot do it. I'm just going to tell you to continue to try. So we have our 4 basic shapes. And like I said here, you see how we just easily made a truck. All I did was, what is this? Circles, a square, and rectangles. I didn't even use a triangle. This next one, I'm going to make, what are we going to do? Something that can use a triangle. Triangle and a circle. This is the most basic drawing course that I'm going to be able to give. Upside down triangle. with a circle on top, right? What does that look like? I see ice cream cone, okay? So all we're gonna do to make it an ice cream cone is to just add little ruffles. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's okay if it's uneven because most ice cream cones are, I don't know if any ice cream that's perfect. And all I do is usually to kind of cover up the lines that I don't want to show, I go in with a color and I'll color it. That'll kind of help you not be able to see the lines that you might have wanted to omit throughout your drawing. I am using crayon so you can see it a little better. Very simple. You got a very basic ice cream cone. Another shape we can use, what did I say? Triangles and 4. Of course, like I said before, the house. Triangle, square. Oh, that's barely a square. Well, I'm gonna show you how to get rid of these mistakes. There are no mistakes in art. So even though I called it a mistake, it's not really a mistake. It's only an opportunity to make this even greater than what it was going to be originally. So excellent. Please let your kids watch. Hey, Kelly girl, how you doing? Me and Kelly went to middle school together. That was my road dog. We got rectangle for the door, squares for our windows. If you want to be funky and maybe give it a circle window, do that. Circle for the door here. Now these lines, you can always get rid of them by coloring over it, as I said earlier. Or maybe you want to get fancy and make this look like brick or stucco or whatever material that is that has the lines going across the house. But there are always ways to make your mistakes look less like a mistake and more like, hey, I did that on purpose. As any artist will tell you, whether they're drawing, whether they're painting, whether they're doing photography, they've all made mistakes. We have all made mistakes. And a lot of the times, it turns into something that you never thought it would be, which made your work look even better than you set out for it to look like. So you see how now I have something that looks like a brick. You see that? You see that big pattern? All it does is look like a collection of rectangles. I know I'm seeming to go through this a little fast, but don't worry. Every class we'll go over our 4 basic shapes and we'll build upon them. Today's class is to introduce them, talk to you about 2D, and then, like I said, also go into 3D. At the end of every class, we will also draw a picture together, okay? Now, that picture I will encourage you to color. You can color it on your own time, but I'll at least draw it out here with you. Parents, maybe your little one's like mine right now. Maybe he or she is asleep. So you can draw it with me and then let them color it later, huh? Let's do that. Give them some coloring sheets from mom, dad, aunt, uncle. Kids love that stuff, and especially little girls, because my little boy is not going to color anything on the table. He's going to color everything but the picture he's supposed to color. So back to our 4 basic shapes. What happened to my picture with my 4 basic shapes? I'm going to show you. Goodness, we're already 15 minutes in. I feel like my hour goes too fast. That's why we need this twice a week, huh? Because when you only have art class once a week, it's like, I need that more. What's going on? At least it was like that for me. So 4 basic shapes: circles, triangles, squares, rectangles. Okay? These are what you call 2D, meaning they don't pop off the paper. They're just the flat objects. If you want to make an object look 3-dimensional, all you have to do is add a light source and essentially shade it in. I'm going to continue using my crayon. If you would like to use a pencil, you probably have better control over it. Use your pencil. Use whatever works better for you. If you like working in pen or you like working in marker, that's perfect. Use those. I'm confident enough to use a crayon. Even on my pencils, I don't erase. It's very rare when I erase. But that becomes with years of drawing and making not mistakes, but opportunities to create something even greater. So to make these 2D shapes, okay, I got my 2D ones here. I'm gonna leave the 2D ones for my friends who need to understand what's gonna happen. So I have my 2D shapes here next to them. If we're gonna add in a light source to make these 3D, I don't know why I did that. 3 looking like an E. Don't look at that. 3D shapes making them 3D. We're gonna add in a light source. This will be our light source. Okay, I'm gonna put some rays of sun so it looks like a little sun. You can choose wherever you like your light source. I'm gonna make mine in the middle. So it's just an even light source that's gonna hit each object. If this is my light source, this part of my circle will be the darkest, this here. So we're gonna come along this edge here, just edge it out. Now, if you prefer to sketch instead of actually putting your pencil down and committing to draw, that's fine. A sketch circle just would look it would just have more lines, and then you would go in and define the circle, which probably will give you a better circle. It'll give you a more accurate looking circle. That's a sketched circle. I'm gonna bring it closer so you all can see. That's a sketch circle here. And this is one I just drew. Whichever one works better for you. If you need to take your time and sketch it out, do that. But the more you draw, you won't have to trace anything. Circles will become second nature. So like I said, light source here, right? It's hitting. So we know this is probably the lightest part of our circle. So we're going to start with our dark areas and just color it in, even with a pencil, shade it in really dark. You don't want to go up too high, and you want to keep that same circular motion with your shade. And when I say a circular motion, that means we're not shading in our circle. I'm not coming all the way up here with my shade and going to make it a straight line like this. I'm not doing that, right? Because then it almost doesn't follow the same shape as the circle. We want to make sure that it's reading as a ball, because a 3D circle is essentially a ball, a balloon, a wheel, something that rolls. So you want your shading to follow that same shape, and in this case, it's a circle. The next layer gets a little bit lighter. And I tell people, even with my mobile paint classes, yes, I do mobile paint party classes, but we'll get back to that later. I tell people you can always start light, okay? Because you can always go back and make it darker later. But once it's dark, you can't go back and make it lighter. So even from here, from a distance, this looks good, right? It's like, oh, she made that pop. But if I hold it and you see it close, you'll see it just started dark, and then I just made it a little bit lighter. You should see my 3 layers, right? My dark layer, my medium dark layer, and then my lightest layer. This layer, I will leave white. You leave that part white, and that'll make it look like it's actually being touched by the light. Now, if you want to make it dark and go in and make this darker space a little bit darker, you can do that. But like I said, it's easier to build upon a color than it is to take it off. So let me tell you something the crayon does not do. Come off. Especially paper. Now we have our circle, right? One thing we have to add is a shadow. Okay? Because of course if there's light, there's dark. So if there's light, there's shadow. So we have it here. And our shadow also, like the shade, follows the shape of the object. So in this case, it'll be a circular shadow. And this shadow will be completely dark. Meaning, like me, I'm using a blue crayon. I'm going to switch to a black or even a dark brown. Just something to make it even darker than the blue. Oh, You know, Crayola got all these new colors. What is this? Desert sand? Like, what the heck? Just give me a regular brown. But it's all right, you know. That was the whole point of buying all these colors, was to be fancy and great. So yeah, we're gonna make this one just darker. I just used purple to make it a little bit darker. And you'll see, look, it's like, oh wow, my circle went from just a regular little circle now popping off the page. Same thing's gonna happen with the triangle. When you have a triangle, the 2D shape is a triangle, the 3D shape is a cone. Remember our ice cream cone? 3D shape is is a cone. You can choose to put ice cream in it. Cones are also those old school birthday party hats that we had when I was a kid growing up in the 90s. That's a cone too. So for our cone, light source here. So it's going to be the opposite of our circle, of our now sphere. This is no longer a circle. It's officially a ball, a sphere, something that rolls. Our cone is the same. It'll have, instead of it being a flat bottom, it will curve. It will have a curved bottom. Remember, like I said about those birthday hats? Now you can kind of see that birthday hat happening. Light source is here. So, of course, this side will be darker. We're going to come in here and make this side darker. The bottom over here will also be darker. And I'll remember, you can always go darker. So we're going to start light with our shading. And remember what I said about it following the shape. So with our circle, our shape follows the shape of the circle. This one, our shape is going to follow the shape of the cone. It's going to have a more linear shape because cones are a little more straight up and down. And if you see, I'm getting darker as I go closer to lighter as I go closer to the light source. You want to make those dark areas nice and dark because that is going to give you what we artists love, which is contrast. Bringing it closer. See here? So now it went from just a regular little triangle to a cone, whether it's a upside down ice cream cone, birthday party hat. What else is a cone? I don't know. But you see what it is. It's a cone. Last two shapes, they're similar, so it shouldn't take us as long. These last two shapes, we have to make them 3D, okay? Not shading alone is not going to make a square look like it's popping out. So a lot of us, I'm sure, especially if you're older watching this like me, a lot of us remember that little 3D square we used to do in high school or grade school, where you do the two squares and then you connect the lines, all four. It's the exact same thing. That's called a box now, right? Now we have a block. It's the exact same thing. But instead of us doing it so we have all these lines in here, I'm gonna show you how to make the box without that trick. So in this case, make sure all of your lines are the exact same angle. That's key. So we're gonna make them in all of the corners except this one. We're not gonna make it in that corner. Down, across. If you took geometry, you should remember parallel, right? These lines here should be parallel, all the three of them. 1, 2, 3, all. These lines here, parallel. All of our vertical lines should be the same. All of our horizontal lines should be the same. And then all of our angle lines should be the same, parallel. Okay? Since we now have our box, we're going to make it 3D. The lightest part of our box will be the top because the sun is coming down. So this will be the darkest corner. This one facing us will be the medium, meaning not quite light. And then the top will just leave white because it's the lightest. Darkest corner, we're going to make that dark. Right? Front, We can make it a little bit darker, but you don't want to make it as dark as that dark corner. And when I shade here, all I'm doing, and you should practice this, all I'm doing is going in with the same amount of pressure on my, whether it's crayon, pen, or pencil. And you want that same even pressure. So you should practice this, okay? I have years of practicing. Ask all my teachers through grade school. I used to draw and doodle and scribble, crosshatch on everything. So I will say, just take your time practicing. You will get it. It will become second nature. So we're here, right? We got our 3D. We got our sphere. We have our cone. Now we have our box. Our box here runs off the page a little bit with our shadow. Remember, the shadow follows the shape of the object. It also will have the same parallel angle lines. So it should be that same shape. I'm going to add my box over here because it kind of ran off the page. But I want you to see the shadow. And the shadow is dark, 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 as dark as it can get. So even if you got to go in and use a black. I always tell people on my paint parties, be cautious with black, okay? Once you go black, you can't, I'm gonna say that joke. But just be cautious with the black. Black is very powerful and it will overtake a drawing, a painting, anything. So I don't know if you've noticed, but I have yet to use black. I'm only using blue. I use a little purple to make it a little bit darker on top of the blue. Because I always use black more so at the end to define, because that's something you definitely can't really go over. And we're going to do the same with our rectangle. So actually, you know how to do a box, right? A rectangle is nothing but an elongated box or elongated square. We're going to make this rectangle a cylinder. That's more like a Coke can, or in my case, a sparkling water can. So to make our cylinder, we're going to do a circle here on the top and a circle here on the bottom. Our circles will be about the same size. Make sure you draw them light. See that? I have my top circle and I have my bottom, wrong way, my bottom circle. Make sure they are the same size. You don't want them going longer than the can. You want it to stop at the edge of the can. I say can because really cylinder, I think sparkling water because that's what I like. So with our light source being up here and it's coming down, the top of the can will be the lightest part. I know in the past I've left my light parts white, but because the top of my can has these blue marks in it, I'm just going to make it a very light shade of blue. So I'm just going to go over it to kind of hide those marks. This means I will have to make my darker areas even darker so this light blue looks like light, looks pretty much white. So we're going to come down and bring my dark side. We know the light source is here, so we know this side is the darkest side. I'm straightening, I don't know if you noticed, I'm straightening this line up while I come down. And then I'm just shaping out the bottom of my cylinder here. I'm going to bring it close for my friends who need to see up close. See, I just made this line here darker, made it a little wider because it went in a little bit to my eye. And I just went around the bottom. This line here, that part of the circle will disappear in our shading. Okay? It will. So remember, start light. You can always go back. We're going to go over our first layer. Remember, your shade is the same shape as your object. So my shade will go straight up the side. It's going to curve along the bottom and curve along the top here, but that's it. In terms of the way that it goes, it's just going to go straight down. It will kind of come around this bottom because this is technically the part that's the furthest from the light. This bottom, the bottom of the can, and then going up the side. So we want to make sure this is dark. Right? And all we're going to do is just go in, make it lighter as we go. This does take some practice. If you're like, doggone it, I'm not getting it, get you another sheet of paper and let's try it again, okay? Do not get discouraged. Be encouraged. Sometimes I feel like I have sayings for days. And we're just going to keep going. You see how I'm coloring it in, shading it in. And although it might look very neat from afar, up close, not so much. You can actually even still see some of my circular line I was trying to hide. But from afar, you can't even see it, right? So it looks pretty doggone great. And then shadows. So I just noticed we didn't add in our cone shadow, and we need to add in our cylinder shadow. We're going to make this darker, even darker, because remember, it's got to be super dark to make this look light. But don't worry, it's going to make it look really good. It really is. It's going to kind of work out. Right? So, to backtrack, because I did forget our shadow over here. Remember I said our shadow will follow the shape. So our shadow for our circle, our sphere, we have the shadow for our box, and now we have to do a shadow for our cone. It will be a triangle. It will come to a point. Did you see that? See that? The shadow comes to a point. So if we've thought about it, the inside of the cone is here. The shadow would not come this far up. Okay, it's not. The base of the cone is still down here. So keep the shadow where the base of the cone is. It's not up here. Do not bring your shadow from out here. It's going to make it look off. And you're going to color in your shadow. Shadow for our cylinder will be what shape? Cylinder, which is nothing but a rectangle that's curved at the top. So we're going to make sure these two lines are parallel, because that's what makes them look all rectangular-ish. I feel like I really made that word up. Bear with me, okay? And then we're going to curve the top. It's going to curve outwards, not inwards. We want it to curve out. And you want to give it about the same amount of curve as the curve up top here. Then you just color it in. Make it nice and dark. Mine is purple, but yours, I'm going to go over it with this blue to make it even darker. Because if I did this with pencil, you would still be able to see it. It would just pop. It would be harder to see. I'm not going to lie to you. Just because of how we're here with the camera. So then you successfully made your 2D shapes. You would have went from these 2D shapes, wrong way, 2D shapes to 3D shapes, right? If you have any questions, please put them and make sure you ask me, okay? I'm not one of those people where there's a dumb question. How else are you going to know unless you ask? Okay? I'm going to put one more piece of tape on that because the window's stopping it from being great. All right, maybe two more pieces. But there we go. So, if you would like to practice with that more, please do. We are already almost halfway through our class today. Oh my goodness. I feel like I'm running out of time. We're going to start with a new sheet of paper. If you have a notebook, then just go on and flip. If you want to keep working on that, you can. This technique is just me showing you how lines work. I know it's like, oh my God, that's how lines work. Like, I thought I knew how lines work. You do, but it's one of those things of it's not until someone kind of tells you or puts it in front of you that you're like, oh, dang, that's it. Like artists, we're not magicians. We how to use the tools to work for us. Okay. So, well, like I said earlier with the shading, practice, practice, practice. Literally, just shade. And all I'm doing is I'm just going to apply the same amount of pressure. And this is going to show you how to help you with your shading. Try to keep the same amount of pressure as you go across, right? This will help you learn to control your pencil. And you'll be able to see where it's less or more pressure being added. If you're shading, you want to go in, do another layer. That'll make it just a little bit darker. And you see how now it's like, oh, wow. I can start to see where it's getting darker as we go along. I'm not going to go all the way. I want it to stop so it can eventually blend. Okay. Now we're here with even darker. Add even more pressure. Okay. This is the last amount of pressure we're going to add. And then I'm going to show you a trick to make them even darker. Like I said, don't go all the way. You see how it's starting to blend? But you can even see right there is about where I stop. So if you want to blend that in, you can. You will learn to do that. All I can tell you is to practice, okay? The next trick that people use to shade is what they call cross-hatching. So cross-hatching is like we just did our lines that are going in this motion, correct? And they all look about the same. Cross-hatching is doing them in the opposite direction, giving it that X, kind of that X look. So going in this direction. As soon as you make that X look, it automatically makes that color look darker. See that? And then all you do is kind of go in the opposite direction. So my third time, I'm going to do it vertically up and down. First time, I think I did it lean into the right. Second time, lean into the left. And I'm trying to use the best way to describe this to you all, okay? And then my last time is going to be up and vertical, okay? Straight up and down. And if you notice, that'll also help it to blend. See that? That's all it is, blending. So with this one, I said we were going to go in and cross-hatch. Now, cross-hatching doesn't have to be you actually shading it. It can be a line motion, meaning stark lines that go in the opposite direction to make your area look darker. Okay, that's all it is. I'm going to bring it closer so you can see. See? So we have our cross-hatching on top, and then you see how it just kind of blends off. Practice, practice, practice. Practicing is the number one thing that's going to make you even better as you go through your drawing journey. Like I said, I've been drawing forever since I could hold a pencil. So I do want to go over one more thing before we start our group picture for the day. Well, actually, I think we might leave that for tomorrow. Oh, yes, that means I'm going to expect you all to come back tomorrow to watch. We'll get started on our group picture for the day. So, if you're like me, we're going to switch out our paper. And as I don't know if you'll notice, but as we go through, all of the pictures will just kind of be on the wall, okay? Because I want you all to be able to see the progress. And I'll be able to kind of refer to them as we continue with class. So we're going to start with a new piece of paper. I'm going to put it vertically. Nah, I'm going to do it vertically. We're going to do it vertically. Tape yours down. So the picture that I think the picture that I picked out for us for today is very simple. It's going to be it's going to be a gentleman or a cartoon character with a house, trees, clouds. Most people usually end up liking those type of pictures. Like I said earlier, if there's anything, whether it's your kids, something they want to watch, comment on the video, send me a DM, and we can put it on the schedule for us to draw one week. Okay? And, sorry, got lock journey happening under my scarf here. Okay, let me get some water and we'll get started. I'm gonna draw mine with crayon so you can see it. I will use green is my favorite color, but I'm gonna just use a brown crayon so I can get it all. We can color it in later. Maybe my son will actually color this one in and not the walls. Huh? Let's do that. We're here. Can you all see this? Oh, sorry. I don't mean to. Can you all see this? Okay. This is the bottom of my page here. So we're gonna do this. If it's gonna have a man and a house and a tree, it kind of has to go horizontal. I'm sorry to shake it up on you again, but let's just turn the page, make it a horizontal picture. So that way we have enough room to fit all of our characters and objects onto our paper. We're gonna start with our house, right? House is what? Square bottom or rectangle bottom, depends on how big you want your house. Triangle top, right? So we'll have it here. I'll put it over here. House. You want your triangle to be a little bit bigger than your actual square house, right? Man, we're going to start. His head is a circle. Our picture will not be to scale, okay? So do not shoot me. Yes, he will be a little bit bigger than the house, but that's the beauty of us learning. His body, my man is a little bit bigger. His body is going to be a half circle. See that? Then I'll have his pants that will come down. This is probably and then they'll come up and do a U shape for his legs. This is one of the simplest ways that I know to have someone draw a person. Okay? Add in his shoes. And we have arms here kind of going off the side. I'm going to put my arms behind my man because we'll go over drawing hands one day, but not today. I'm going to let you all sit here and watch this. I hear my 6-month-old up. He's about to join us. Just give us a second. Okay, so I'm sorry, but baby won't be joining us. His uncle actually got him. Good job for uncle. So we have a guy here, right? Mine is a guy. Yours might be a girl. I'm just going to do some hair. My hair is a little curly. It's got coils. To make it coils, I'm just going in with little circles, right? And you notice, don't beat yourself up if yours isn't perfect. Mine isn't perfect, okay? Just relax. It'll work out. Going in with some coils. You can always make your man bigger if you desire. Circle for eyes. Half upside down circle for the mouth. This is basic, all right? I'm as literally as basic as I can do it for you. Now I'm going to have a tree in the background. The bottom of the tree will come up and out on both sides. If it's not perfect, it's perfect. Okay? Trees are very organic. So if it's not symmetrical, if one side is higher than the other, that's exactly how they look. So never beat yourself up about a tree. Okay? And we just put in these. Oh my goodness, did I just rip my paper? But didn't I just tell you there are no mistakes? So I'm not even worried about it because it's going to work out. I'm going to show you how. So now we have the trunk of our tree. Oh yeah, you're going to have to walk him. He ain't going to let you be great. I'll get him if you want me to though. Okay. So then we have our trunk. You see I stopped it here because that's where our tree leaves will form. And we'll use that same little shape off the page. That will make it's a cloud shape. And it gives the effect that our tree is so large that it actually went off of the page. Because I'm not going to lie to you. I love big trees. I like to sit under them. I used to sit under them as a kid. And if I wasn't allergic to outside, I'd sit under them now. A house, if you want to add in some detail, please do. Remember doors, rectangles. What do we have? Windows or circles or squares. It's up to you. If you want to do the old school chimney, that's also a rectangle. And then, of course, you can always make smoke by doing a little cloud-like motion. But really, smoke is up to you, too. House, person, tree, grass. If we're going to add in grass, it's also very organic. So I'm going to do it real quick here. And all I'm doing is some squiggly lines along and in front of this tree. I'm going to let you see it. See, it was just a squiggly line, literally nice and imperfect, but perfect. You see how that worked? Imperfectly perfect. So I remember when I said our man isn't to scale, but maybe it's because he's far away from the house. He's further away from the house than it looks, right? And if that's the case, then it would be to scale. The tree and the house are behind him. Maybe you did your grass squiggly line in front of your house too. If you want him to maybe have come from a trail, you want the trail to kind of follow the same curve and open up as it gets to him. Now I'm going to stop my trail right there and actually probably make this more like a sidewalk. Right. So it looks like I have a line here that I might want to go over, a line here that I might want to go over, and then a line behind his arm that I might want to go over. And you can either let your children or whoever go over it when they color, or you can just go over it now. For me, I'm just going to make my grass look a little more active behind him there. Along the sidewalk here, I'm just going to color that in. I'm going to color in my sidewalk, and it'll give the illusion that line was done on purpose. Right? Like I said, you could always just left it blank if that's what you'd like to do. But for the most part, this would be it if you were going to do it coloring book style, meaning leave it for someone or a family member to color. If you are going to be the one coloring it, then it's your time to be great and color. So I'm just going to take in some blues and make my pants blue. What else is going to be blue? Nothing. Oh, my sky. Maybe. We'll see. And then I'm going to take in some red. His shirt will be red. Oh, this is supposed to be red. It's violet red, but I told you about all these color names in this Crayola thing. This Crayola packet got names of crayons I never heard of, and I've been coloring with these crayons my whole life. Okay, you can also color in your skin tone, right? Desert sand might be more my skin tone. I was talking about it earlier, but it kind of works now. Okay, mine might be a little darker than desert sand, but we're here. Right? And then, of course, shoes. I like dark colors for my shoes. So this is like a black, right? And you see how that black pops? So if you are like me, and if you follow any of my paintings, like my paintings as Cast the Artist, you'll know that I literally go in and outline everything with black. Why? Because black is pretty doggone great. And I just kind of go over everything. It makes things pop. It brings it more to the forefront, and it helps to hide whatever lines you might have wanted to you might have felt like you made a mistake on. It kind of helps you hide those, right? And I even go around my person with my black. It helps me add definition. It makes it look a little more cartoony, but me personally, I like cartoony. In this course, we'll also eventually get to how to draw hands, drawing faces. But I want to encourage you every time starting with a fairly simple drawing, so you have something to practice and kind of build upon while we're all here we're not officially in quarantine here in Atlanta, but I mean, my kids can't go to school. I can't go to work. We're not really supposed to meet in groups over 10 people. If this ain't quarantine, I don't know what is, okay? So that would really conclude the drawing part. We're welcome to add in a sun if you like, or maybe yours is at night. You want to add in a crescent moon with some stars. It's completely up to you. But this is it. It's a fairly simple drawing. It looks a little cartoony, but I like it. You can color it in more. I'm going to stop coloring now because I wanted to make sure that we all reach the same point, and I wanted to give you some point and tell you what's going to happen tomorrow in our class. So we'll be doing the drawing hour every, Wednesday and Thursday at 2:00. We'll always go over, like I said, we'll meet up, we'll go over the basic shapes, we'll build upon what we learned last time. So this time we talked about the basic shapes and shading. Next time we'll talk about how to look at an object and pick the shapes out of that object to draw it. Oh, my glasses are crooked. Hey, I'm sorry, y'all. But how to look at, let's say, a bowl of fruit, right? That's one of the easier still lifes we've all kind of done if you did a still life before. How to look at the bowl of fruit and say, okay, no, this might be a circle, this might be a square, this might be rectangle, this might be an oval, and then just other shapes that can help you in your real life drawing, okay? Real quick, please make sure you follow before we conclude. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram. I am at Cast the Artist. The nonprofit that I have, where we do art education with youth right here in Atlanta, Georgia, that is Artistically Me. Instagram, you'll find us at artisticallyme.atl. On Facebook, you'll find us just Artistically Me, or you can go on my page, Cast the Artist on Facebook, and it's under my employment. So it asks where you work. Just click it. That's the page. Make sure you follow us. We'll be posting the videos to save them so everybody has a chance to look at them. Keep your drawing. Even if you don't like it, keep it. Maybe gift it. People really love gifts of things that you took the time out yourself to do. And I will encourage you to continue drawing even on days we don't have class, because that's going to be the only thing that takes you from I'm good to I'm phenomenal to this is what I do. Okay? So I hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you so much for all tuning in. Like I said, we'll be meeting every Wednesday and Thursday at 2 p.m. And that's about it. If you're enjoying this, the drawing hour with Cass the Artist, and you love us so much, you're like, oh my gosh, I really want to do something for her. You can always cash at me maybe $1 or $2. My cash app is at Cass the Artist. I mean, $ Cass the Artist, huh? And my name is Cassandra Sistrunk. Thank you again for stopping by. And I will see you tomorrow at 2. Bye. It's cool. This shit is work.